Hi there again, my fellow wayfarers. Today I tell you about my way to the Camino itself. If you watched my first intro video, you'll know about the friend who gave me the final sign that I was meant to go on a pilgrimage to Santiago, and that he said that I maybe could carpool with him and his parents to the south of France. Well, a week before the deadline, he told me that it wasn't possible, unfortunately, but he already searched for other means to get to Saint-Jean. I would need to take the Flixbus to Bordeaux, and from there the train to Saint-Jean. Simple enough, right? But my itinerary wasn't that simple though. The 18th of July at noon, I was ready to go. But first, I still needed to go to my grandmother to pick some final stuff that was necessary for my adventure and to give her my custom-made birthday card because I would not be back before the end of August to celebrate it with her. After that, I headed to a friend who has an empty garage box where I could safely leave my car for those 5 to 6 weeks. From there, I took the bus to the train station so I could get to the Flixbus in Brussels house. I was way too early there, thankfully, because otherwise it would be a problem. Thanks to that, I had the opportunity to eat something before going on the bus for a long trip to Paris and from there to Bordeaux. On the road to Paris, I witnessed a beautiful sunset, and right before we got to Bordeaux, I would see a beautiful sunrise too. In Paris, all the toilets were closed, unfortunately, due to COVID. Alright? So I had to search for a cafe and also buy a really expensive water bottle. Don't go to a Paris cafe after 10 o'clock in the evening to buy water. In Bordeaux, the next train to Bayonne would depart in 3 hours. So maybe I could do a little city trip, but first I needed to eat something. Alas, all the facilities to eat something were still closed at that time, except a McDonald's. Eating French fries and a hamburger as breakfast is not really my thing, so I waited. During that time, I was looking around for just a quiet spot where there were not too much people around who could see me, so I could record a video to post on Facebook for my supporters in the homeland. At one point, a French guy walked up to me and asked for my number, like that happened to me a lot of times when I was younger too. No thank you, and in my head I screamed, "Run, Yessie, run!" I could not get away from him fast enough. After that, I could buy a sandwich. Yay! It was getting busier by the minute, so I would never find a good spot that was also subtle and with not too much people around that would look at me like I'm an alien. So I just recorded my video while people were just staring at me like I was an alien. Of course. After I finished the video, I wanted to upload it immediately, but I couldn't get on the Wi-Fi. I was waiting for the right opportunity to ask someone for help, but it never came. I was too shy and too afraid because of the security measures. Everyone just stayed too much far apart from each other and to make any friendly contact from that distance. Time went on, and the little city trip was not possible anymore. In the train from Bayonne to Saint-Jean, I saw 2 big birds of prey flying around in circles while we were standing still in a train station. When the train began to move again, they moved with us, and not just a little bit, but for a really long time. For me, that was not normal, so I thought it was magical. When we arrived at Saint-Jean, everyone went in the same direction. Almost everyone. Yes, I'm one of those people who stay behind to adjust myself to the new environment, to take a photo of the pilgrim statue and of the train station, and also to look for a town map. That is very important. Don't just follow the mass, but determine for yourself where you are, where you need to go, and how to get there. And then just go to where all the others went to. In the middle of the town, I searched for a tourist office, but that seemed to be closed on Sundays. Great! Now what? Ask a man who you saw along the way from the train station where one could find an albergue or more. He didn't know either, but he saw people running up the stairs a bit further back. So I climbed those stairs and saw a woman sitting in front of a house. Turns out she was a hostess of an albergue. Yay! There were also 2 other people standing there, a man and a woman who had a reservation with her. Why didn't I make a reservation earlier on? And searched on the internet for albergues there. That was very odd for me, because normally I would plan everything, and by that I really mean everything to the detail beforehand. Otherwise I get too much stress and I begin to panic, as was the case at that moment. Luckily for me, she still had plenty of room left to accommodate me. The man and woman came from the Netherlands. What a surprise! They were father and daughter, and they were already experienced with undergoing such adventures, so that came in handy too. The hostess told me that the pilgrim office was still closed because of the lunchtime, but that it would reopen later on. Until then, I settled and refreshed myself, washed my clothes for the very first time by hand with soap, really a feat, and got to Facebook to give an update and upload the video. When I got to the streets of the pilgrim office, I couldn't find it at first. That's so typically me. The only thing that I saw that said something in the nature of pilgrim office, I believed it wasn't the office. I was a fool, I know. Already slightly panicking again, I asked other people in the streets, and then I stood before the same building again. Facepalm. There, the lady gave me my credential and papers with names and phone numbers of every albergue, pension, hostel and hotel from there to Santiago. Or so I thought. In Leon, I would notice that there were no more entries. Huge panicking moment then, but I'm getting ahead of myself. She also gave me a document with suggested stages and their profiles. The last paper was a road map from there to Roncesvalles with 2 possible routes. She wanted to know which one I would take, but I hadn't heard before of 2 roads, so I didn't know yet. One is not advisable for colder seasons as it becomes too dangerous. For the other one, she strongly warned me to not take a certain path after a particular road mark, because in the descent the risk of falling and hurting yourself greatly was too high. Now, fully prepared, I went into one of the pilgrim shops just to look around, because I'm curious like that. Thankfully, I saw nothing that I didn't already have or stuff that I needed, except hiking sticks and a St. James shell. I bought only the latter because up until 2 days later I thought I didn't need the sticks. Again, I was a fool, but I learned from my mistakes. Not far from that shop, there was a little restaurant where they made fresh hamburgers. Because I wanted to eat a hamburger since right before the lockdown, after many years of not having eaten one and didn't get the chance to go to the Quick, that's the Belgian McDonald's, only better. Sorry. Before everything shut down, I took the chance, and it was the best hamburger ever. As I was really tired because of a lack of sleep on the bus and the train, I got to bed to take a power nap. After some time, I was woken up by the hostess and another pilgrim who just arrived. He was Italian, and we could speak Spanish with each other. That was so exciting for me, as it has been a long time since I hadn't used it much after my studies. What was also fun was that it was his birthday. Well, have you ever? Then came dinner time with real Italian spaghetti, because the hostess was Italian herself. So you can already imagine those 2 talking and laughing together. I'm not a big drinker, so I only drink with other people on special occasions like that time. So I had only 1 glass of wine, and that is just enough for me. As main course, there was salad, and as a dessert, something special I don't remember, but it was with some dairy products. Everything was delicious. It was getting late and darker, and I still hadn't visited the citadel, and she really wanted me to visit it, so I went to it. So I stormed outside with my phone, ran up the stairs to see the last lights of the sunset. Oh, bummer. But it was beautiful still. I wanted to see if there was something more around the citadel, but it was too dark and I couldn't see other entrances or interesting aspects of it. So I ran again, down the stairs this time, and back to the albergue. People there were surprised that I was back so fast, but I really took my time going around the citadel, so I was surprised that they were surprised. Okay, yeah, I admitted running up and down the stairs, but that's all. They thought me crazy. As for them, it seemed to be quite a feat to run up there like it was nothing. The Italian man, the Dutch woman, and we talked to around midnight before going to bed. We needed to get up early in the morning, because otherwise we wouldn't get to Roncesvalles in time, because when it's too late, that's really tough after 25 kilometers. In next week's video, I will finally tell you all about my very first walking day on the Camino. 25 kilometers over the Pyrenees. As someone who didn't even reach 17 kilometers in a flat country. Stay tuned and buen camino!